Live from Tampa, Florida, the 2012 Republican National Convention with Brian and Brian, sponsored by the Media Research Center. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL.
8:07 on WMAL. Brian Neiman, Brian Wilson, live from Tampa, the Republican National Convention. Chris Plant coming on 9 o'clock, 9 to 12. We'll be doing a show from Tampa as well. We got Mary Catherine Ham on the way. Michael Barone is on the line right now, senior political analyst for the Washington Examiner, also co-author of the Almanac of American Politics, also a Fox News contributor. Michael, it's great to have you back on the show. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, it's good to be with you.
All right, so you wrote a piece the other day, I guess it was a couple of days ago, that said if there is no bounce out of this convention for Mitt Romney, then it's going to be difficult to win. But can I say, because I've looked at the polls in the last couple of weeks, it seemed that Romney was down before he picked Paul Ryan, and now the polls are pretty much showing it's even everywhere, if not Romney ahead a little bit. Hasn't he already gotten the bounce from Paul Ryan? And hasn't he had a bounce in the last couple of weeks?
I think if we look back on it, we will probably say he had a bounce, but it's a little too early to reach that conclusion yet. I mean, polling is an imperfect instrument. There's a margin of error. You know, polling theory tells us 1 out of every 20 polls is wrong in the sense that it's farther away than the error margin from how respondents react if you contact 100% of the population. So, you know, what I see in the polls is Romney inching forward, Obama making very little progress, and you get different pictures in different states. We've seen Connecticut tighten up, not to the point that Romney is threatening to carry it, but Republican Senate candidate Linda McMahon's now been leading Democratic Congressman Chris Murphy in 2 polls. On the other hand, a couple of polls came in this morning. North Carolina, a state that Obama carried by only 50-49, and we've got a poll result there with another tie. I think it's 43-43. Pretty high degree of undecideds, which sounds implausible, and they may be interviewing with a loose screen. But that tells me, gee, North Carolina continues to be polarized with Obama not out of it, as the Romney people would very much like. So let's keep watching and seeing what's happening. Right. Maybe you know, what we'll see eventually is that Romney got a rolling bounce from the selection of Ryan on August 11th to the close of the convention August 30th.
Maybe it was a slow bounce.
That doesn't register on voters. You know, you don't start seeing that until Friday night interviews August 31st because they don't interview after 9 p.m. in the time zone where they're interviewing.
I got you. Okay, I want to ask you though.
After that, in the Eastern and Mid and Central time zones.
I want to ask you though about bounces and opportunities to move the needle. I mean, in every campaign there are these moments, key points that come along where you have the opportunity to move the needle. Some of them you know about, some of them you don't, and some of them pop up and you have to react to them. Sometimes that goes one way, sometimes it goes the other. But there are certain points in the campaign where you know you've got an opportunity and you've got to make the most of it. One would assume the debates are one of those opportunities in the days ahead. But Romney's speech coming up later this week is one of those opportunities where he has a chance to make a real difference and perhaps move the needle. Would you agree?
I would agree. I think this is definitely one of his opportunities. I think that's a very good analysis, Brian. You know, it's perhaps not as great an opportunity as in the past. I mean, I was talking to the people that work for a firm I think called Targeted Opportunity, one of the micro-targeting firms. They've been doing surveys, and indeed in combination with sponsoring it with the Democratic firm. And they found in Ohio and Florida about 1/3 of people don't watch live television anymore except sports programs. They don't watch the news that's on. They don't sit and watch 3 hours of CBS situation comedies from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. It's interesting. So, you know, the convention, the audience for the 2008 convention speeches remained high by historic standards. People didn't watch other things. There's been a survey out here released in Tampa saying people aren't expressing as much interest in watching the Romney speech or the Obama speech as last time. I didn't see that broken down for Republicans and Democrats. It made, one hypothesis that the Romney people would like to be true is people still want to see the Romney speech, but a lot of Democrats don't necessarily, or people don't necessarily want to see, or maybe a lot of Republicans don't want to see Mr. Obama anymore.
Can the Republicans win the Senate without Missouri, without Todd Aiken?
Yeah, they can. One of the things that happens often with Senate seats, and we saw it in the last couple cycles, is that, against the law of averages, seemingly, one party wins most of the closely contested seats, and it happened in 1980, it happened in 1986, it happened in 2006, and of course you get a tremendous, bonus of power if your party does that. So the answer is yes, but obviously, if you keep throwing away Senate seats that you had a perfectly good chance to win,
right.
you will be rewarded. Your leader will be rewarded with the title of minority leader.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, what about this hurricane? What role do you think this hurricane plays in the convention and any possible bump or any kind of narrative or tone that comes out of the Republican National Convention?
I think probably very little. I mean, the convention did officially go into session yesterday for a period of minutes or seconds, just to say they've started off on the day that the convention call requires them to do so. I think that this will be the last 4-day convention.
Good.
The Democrats have already got their convention down to 3 days because the Monday of that week is Labor Day. The Republicans will have effectively a 3-day convention. Whoever wins, whichever side wins, will have had a 3-day convention and will have done so without a 4th day. And I think, it's hard to whittle the list of speakers down that much, but both parties, to 3 days worth, both parties will have done so. The broadcast networks made it clear they'd cover only 3 hours, one on each of 3 nights.
Right.
So why would you go to the expense of holding a 4th day of a convention? It's an antique form that was invented to select nominees. It has become a forum for spotlighting the nominee and producing a good TV show, like one of your earlier questions indicated. And if you don't need the 4th day to serve that modern function, why not just skip it? And I think that's what's going to happen in the future.
All right, Michael, it's always great to have you on the show. Thanks very much for your time and your insights. We appreciate it greatly.
Okay. Always good to be with you, Brian.